What is gray box testing? The online definition says gray box is black box plus white box. I would say it's an in between black box and white box, right? So it's not like all of them and you know some of them and do a test. It's always either you know all of them or you none of them, but the middle ground is somewhere some of these transactions. So that is in a practical scenario, that is what it is. You cannot know everything about a software, you cannot know every endpoint in a software, or it's not very helpful from the time constraints. You have 3 developers doing 5 or 6 PRs to bring in a feature to your product, then you cannot be understand each and every piece of the code and figure out how to test. So you would be knowing very somewhere in the middle that what you wanted to do, what this feature does. So you know half of the information about the endpoints, how it works, where it stores, but you may not know fully that how it is transforming inside the code, but you know which location, which APIs are used, in which API, which endpoint is used to transact this information. So with the half of the information knowing, so this is somewhere between the user and the developer. You are half user and half developer. Some more information than the user, use some less information than the developer. So you are in the middle. And practical scenario in recent days, most of the testing, or especially on the product companies, smaller companies, when you are the only tester or you are the developer doing the testing, in those cases most of the time what you are doing is a gray box test, which half the information you compare the requirement against these half information what you know. It's not like intentionally hidden from you this information. If you get more time, if you get more of information, if you get more bandwidth for executing this more information, you might do that, but it's not that much valuable to know each and every function. In that way, what you do is like you expect the developer to do the unit test, write the unit test and make sure all their internal functions are working fine. You just make sure these navigations between services, the data information is processed on each input, and then it goes to the downstream, it goes to the last bottom screen that information is stored. So if you are understanding from that perspective, if you are half developer and half user, with that knowledge, if you try to test a software, that is what mostly gray box testing. And this is normalized in at least last 10 years in product companies, in smaller companies, 1 QA member for 5 developers or 10 developers. In that situations, most of the time you would do gray box testing. Why gray box testing is important? Because currently we are looking for fast delivery. We wanted to release the product to the market as soon as possible. So in that case, being an user and simply saying, oh, I did this action in UI and I saw this error message, can you find out the problem? Instead, if you know more information about it, you already know which endpoint this information is going, which endpoint is causing the problem. You can tell the developer for that microservice, this microservice acting weird. You don't know why it is acting weird, why this information is wrong, but at least you can pinpoint to the closest to the source of the problem. You do the half debugging or you do the half analysis of where this issue is happening, what is the root cause. You do the half of the root cause analysis. That will help the developer to identify it better, instead of you tell the API developer or API team and then they forward that request to some other developer and then they do it to the microservices team, then they do it to the database team. So instead of going through multiple iterations, you kind of do half of the analysis and more information will be provided to the developer so that we can fix the problem faster and retest it and deliver it to the consumer. That is what gray box testing is mostly about, and that's why it's popular in modern software systems and product based companies.